You can see the straight lines here, but you can also see a hole.
The oceans conceal far more than they reveal. With only 5% of our oceans explored, the remaining 95% holds unimaginable mysteries. Join us as we dive into the uncharted depths and reveal the top 15 terrifying underwater discoveries.
I've got 3,200 psi each side.
Number 15. Megalodon Teeth. Megalodon. Just the name evokes images of a monstrous shark cruising prehistoric seas, dwarfing modern great whites at over 50 feet long. While Meg went extinct millions of years ago, diving expeditions still occasionally unearth its fossilized teeth, huge triangular artifacts practically bursting with primal terror. Recently, some anomalously young Megalodon teeth discoveries have sparked a debate. Could Meg still be lurking in the ocean depths? Or are these teeth simply the remnants of a shark long gone? No prehistoric predator stirs excitement and speculation like Krakens' Megalodon. It's disputed exactly when Meg reigned, but fossils date it to at least 15 million years ago. Its teeth convey its scale. At over 7 inches long, they're larger and thicker than great white teeth. Meg inhabited warm waters worldwide, feeding on whales and giant sea turtles. But by around 2.6 million years ago, it disappeared from the fossil record. Yet Meg's teeth keep surfacing, sometimes in unexpected places. In 1875, the HMS Challenger dredged up 2 Krakens' teeth from the Central Pacific seafloor, nearly 14,000 feet deep. Bafflingly, a 1959 analysis dated these teeth to only 11,000 years old. If true, Meg survived a previously assumed extinction by over 1 million years. But could the analysis be flawed? Most paleontologists think so, arguing the teeth more likely date to Meg's accepted 2 to 3 million year extinction timeline. Until live Megs appear, or more anomalous teeth turn up, its survival remains theoretical. But artifacts from its reign will continue to fascinate divers. Meg may be gone, but its legend and primal awe live on in its fossilized teeth. Number 14. The Black Swan. Sunken treasure holds an irresistible allure. So when the deep-sea exploration company Odyssey Marine Exploration detected a promising shipwreck codenamed the Black Swan, they moved swiftly yet stealthily to claim its riches. But their secret salvage operation wouldn't stay buried for long. As it turned out, the $500 million of coins they spirited to shore belonged not to pirates, but to the Spanish government, kicking off a decade-long legal battle over the treasure's true owner. The Black Swan's saga began in 2007, when Odyssey covertly discovered a wreck they identified as a 19th century sidewheel steamship off the Strait of Gibraltar. Though required for salvage rights, they filed no public claim on the site, as they hastily collected over 500,000 silver and gold coins. Odyssey shipped the trove to the US via chartered jets, still keeping their haul's origin concealed. But sharp-eyed customs officials noticed discrepancies in their import forms, and Odyssey's CEO soon let the word of their recovery leak. The Spanish government quickly claimed ownership, arguing Odyssey pillaged the Nuestra Señora de las Mercedes, a Spanish frigate that exploded and sank during the 1804 Battle of Cape Santa Maria. Though Odyssey argued it was an unidentified wreck in international waters, further evidence confirmed it as the Mercedes. After a protracted legal fight, a U.S. federal court in 2012 ordered the full treasure returned to Spain as its naval heritage. The recovered coins are now housed in Spain's Naval Museum, where they help tell the Mercedes story. But the Black Swan saga underscores the contentious issues around underwater salvage rights. While Odyssey gambled big and lost, their secretive methods damaged trust in the responsible exploration of historic shipwrecks. Number 13. Oarfish of the Deep. In tales of ancient mariners, sea serpents and leviathans lurked beneath the waves, jeopardizing ships and swallowing sailors whole. While those legendary beasts probably existed only in imagination, the oceans do harbor strange and elusive creatures that strike awe in those fortunate enough to encounter them. The oarfish is one such animal, an elongated mystery of the deep that sporadically reveals itself in brief, spellbinding appearances. With ribbon-like fins undulating as they swim vertically, and a crimson mane running the length of their silver bodies, oarfish look like mythical come to life when they gracefully ascend from the shadows. Reaching lengths of up to 36 feet, the oarfish holds the title of the longest bony fish alive today. Inhabiting ocean depths ranging from 656 to 3,280 feet, these elusive creatures lack a swim bladder and depend on minimal body movement to conserve energy in the dark pelagic waters. Believed to feed on tiny plankton and small fish, oarfish have intrigued scientists, occasionally washing ashore or becoming entangled in fishing nets, providing glimpses into their mysterious world. Traditionally known as Ryugu no Tsukai in Japanese, translating to the messenger from the sea god's palace, these fish are linked to folklore suggesting their beaching precedes underwater earthquakes. The intrigue surrounding oarfish reached new heights in 2011 when a fisherman in Japan made an astonishing discovery: two mysterious fish measuring approximately 11.3 and 13 meters. This fisherman's find shocked scientists. The folklore about oarfish and natural disasters added an air of significance to this unexpected find. Strangely, the discovery was followed by the devastating 2011 Fukushima disaster, a catastrophic event triggered by a massive earthquake and subsequent tsunami. The disaster not only resulted in significant damage to the Fukushima nuclear power plant, but also led to widespread destruction in the region, displacing communities and causing the loss of thousands of lives. However, scientists, while intrigued, remain skeptical about any direct connection between oarfish appearances and impending natural disasters. Number 12. Submerged ancient road to Atlantis. The story of the lost city of Atlantis has fascinated humanity for centuries, its legend wielded to bolster mystical beliefs or rationalize natural disasters. While physical evidence supporting Atlantis's existence remains intangibly elusive, some startling underwater discoveries in shallow Caribbean waters do fuel speculation that the mythical metropolis once stood proud above the waves. Off North Bimini Island in the Bahamas lies a formation uncannily resembling an ancient road, a site some suggest may have connected Atlantis itself. The Bimini Road, as it is called, was discovered in 1968 by a group of divers exploring local reefs and mangrove swamps. Lying roughly 15 feet underwater, the site consists of dozens of limestone blocks formed into an east-west formation over 700 feet long. Many blocks measure 13 feet by 6 feet and have nearly right-angle sides, while others are arrayed in recognizable wall-like lines. All bear the jagged cracks and holes indicative of being subjected to a powerful cataclysmic force, quite possibly a flood. Radiocarbon dating established that the Bimini roadstones were carved around 10,000 to 12,000 years ago, coinciding with a postulated date for the destruction of Atlantis around 11,600 years ago. While many geologists attribute the formation to naturally fracturing beach rock, the timing and geometric regularity have piqued the interest of alternative researchers seeking evidence of ancient advanced cultures. Atlantis proponents suggest the blocks comprised a harbor road, while others propose the whole Bimini Island chain to be the mountainous peaks of sunken Atlantis itself. Number 11. The Silfra Fisher. Iceland continually reinvents itself through volcanic tumult, and nowhere is the dynamic intersection of fire and ice on better display than at Thingvallavatn, the country's largest lake. Flowing from a vast lava field through rifts in the mid-Atlantic ridge, it perfectly encapsulates Iceland's unique geology. Thingvallavatn's crown jewel for divers is Silfra, an aquatic wonderland accessible through a dazzling blue crack between continents atop the ridge. Its frigid waters offer stunning visibility for exploring Earth's shifting crustal forces up close. The Silfra Fisher formed through the spreading of the North American and Eurasian continental plates. At Thingvallavatn, this boundary is clearly visible as a series of fissures sliced through the landscape. Silfra lies along the edge of the lake, its 300-foot-long crevasse flooded by meltwater filtered for decades through porous lava rock. This long journey purifies the water, resulting in exceptional clarity exceeding 330 feet. The combination of light refracting through its crystalline waters and the fault's gleaming white walls produce an intense azure hue that must be seen to be believed. Slipping into Silfra's 35-degree Fahrenheit waters, divers descend between hallucinatory blue walls seemingly extending to infinity, but gazed upon closely, the rock face reveals our planet is in flux. Pulled apart 2 centimeters annually by the spreading plates, jagged cracks and twisted formations constrain the ridge, testifying to the forces incessantly reshaping the land. Dangling one's feet on either side of the fissure connects one personally with the inexorable continental drift driving this process. As monumental from a geological perspective as aesthetic, the Silfra Fisher offers a soul-stirring glimpse of creation and destruction in balance at the boundary of worlds. Number 10. legendary Krakens of the deep. The black depths of the sea have long harbored terrifying legends of behemoths waiting to snatch sailors or smash holes through ships. Of all the mythical ocean monsters passed down through mariners' lore, none captures the imagination quite like the Kraken, a colossal cephalopod said to erupt from the inky abyss to pull entire vessels down into its eldritch clutch. While fanciful exaggerations, these dramatic tales reflect aquatic life that may have inspired the Kraken myth. Real-world giant squid and octopus discoveries help explain how fears of these tentacled titans took hold. Descriptions of Krakens date back centuries, conjuring images of vast squid or octopuses enveloping and demolishing European ships. Their sheer scale dwarfed the largest known aquatic species, implying monstrous longevity and primordial origins. Cryptozoologists propose plausible zoological roots for Kraken's accounts. The giant squid, reaching over 40 feet long, exhibits intelligence and aggression. Rarely seen until recent decades, its massive size matched mythic claims. Potential rippling water disturbances produced by writhing giant squid near the surface may have appeared as moving island masses to frightened sailors. Even more compelling, colossal octopuses proposed to reach over 100 feet across could create Kraken-like havoc. Fossil evidence confirms these giants once existed, and rare modern accounts hint they may yet lurk in lightless ocean trenches. A massive, unidentified octopus reported dragging a fishing trawler forcibly revived such speculation. While typically reclusive, a giant angry octopus rising from the depths could readily inspire maritime horror stories. While the line between fact and fantasy is blurred, the ocean undoubtedly harbors living wonders matching mythic imagination. Number 9. World War II aircraft. Relics from history's most destructive war perpetually surface from land and sea, forever preserving sobering evidence of sweeping global conflict. For decades, planes and pilots lost during World War II's pivotal Pacific theater campaigns remained concealed in deep ocean waters. But recent high-tech underwater surveys have illuminated the fates of those downed aircraft and crews, bestowing dignity upon their sacrifices in defense of nations. By discovering missing fragments of the war quietly at rest beneath the waves, we may better honor the struggles of the past while progressing toward a more peaceful future. In February 1944, American flyers launched the audacious Operation Hailstone, a meticulously planned aerial assault of Japan's Truk Lagoon base. Amid the resulting two-day carnage that devastated the Japanese fleet, multiple U.S. fighter planes were hit and plunged into the Pacific. Fast forward to 2018, and pioneering deepwater surveys by Project Recover located 3 World War II aircraft on the seafloor near the Palau Islands, 2 Dauntless dive bombers and an Avenger torpedo bomber. Still sporting paint and markings, their intact wreckage had evaded scavengers 14,000 feet below. Finding closure for descendants is a key driver in locating the underwater graves of old conflicts. But respectful documentation also expands historical insight into how the war reached even the ocean's most inaccessible corners. Preserved by cold darkness and immense pressure, downed planes become time capsules granting unique perspectives on history's pivotal events. They connect modern citizens to the individuals who took up arms during eras of tremendous strain. Number 8. Jacuzzi of Despair. The Gulf of Mexico nurtures abundant sea life in its warm currents swirling above the abyssal plains miles below. But down there in the sunless depth, a bizarre oasis attracts amazed researchers with its hydrogen sulfide jacuzzis percolating toxic fluids in an ever-changing seascape. Dubbed the Jacuzzi of Despair, this inhospitable underwater field yields insights into ongoing turbulence far beneath the waves that have shaped the Gulf for millennia. The hydrothermal seeps, sprouting black smokers and mineral spires in the utter darkness 5 miles down, are imposing yet inhospitable. At these bizarre spots, the seafloor cracks open, and trapped pockets of oil and gases from ancient geological stewing escape upward into the icy water. Their buoyancy and poison prevent most animal life from exploiting these mineral-rich oases. Only symbiotic bacteria and tube worms adapt to exploit the noxious conditions, but the seep's constantly fluctuating pressures make them appealing for scientific monitoring. Their temperatures reach over 140 degrees Fahrenheit as fluids churn violently, at times gushing violently like underwater geysers, then subsiding again into bubbling mud pots as pressures shift. These dynamics create a mosaic landscape as salts precipitate into towers and lurid mineral growths. Even the nearest animals appear as sulfur-stained ghosts, drifting ethereally at the periphery of the inhospitable springs. While foreboding, these roiling seafloor seeps provide a window into the restless cycling between geology and biology, endlessly occurring beneath the waves. Their hellish conditions preview how life adapts to exploit extreme settings and pioneer new evolutionary paths. And appreciating life's tenacity in the boiling darkness miles below surface waters reveals that no realm on Earth escapes nature's creative stirrings. Number 7. Black smokers. Into the frigid darkness of the ocean depths, the discovery of deep-sea hydrothermal vents in the 1970s introduced one of ecology's greatest marvels. These geothermal hot springs support rich communities of life thriving at extremes of temperature and pressure unfathomable elsewhere. Dubbed black smokers for the mineral-stained fluids they expel during active periods, their improbable ecosystems reveal that life finds opportunity in Earth's most punishing realms. Black smokers exemplify how geology and biology intertwine to drive innovation. They form where seabed plates spread and allow seawater to penetrate into the crust. Heated by magma and enriched by dissolved minerals, the water rebounds like below-ground geysers. Turning black as sulfur precipitates upon contact with cold seawater, these streams of toxicity seem uninhabitable. Yet specially adapted bacteria thrive around the vents, forming mats that allow animal life to gain footholds. Blind shrimp and thickets of Riftia tubeworms cluster wherever the scalding, nutrient-rich waters flow. These refuges exist independent of photosynthesis, using chemosynthesis based on the vent bacteria to form their own nourishment from the vent's mineral efflux. So much life crammed into such hostile conditions revolutionized our conceptions of habitability. The more vents explored, the more evolution's creative prowess at exploiting extreme gradients revealed itself through new odd species. Science now believes that early life may have originated around similar geological hotspots. Black smokers thereby provide a window into Genesis at the ocean's floor. Their improbable abundance amazes us with possibilities past and future. Number 6. Japan's underwater pyramid. Off Japan's southeast coast, a series of huge stone terraces emerging from the ocean floor has confounded scientists since first being documented in the mid-1990s. Some researchers believe these structures near Okinawa's Yonaguni Island constitute ruins of an ancient temple or castle engulfed by the sea long ago. Others argue these pyramid-like formations are naturally occurring sandstone shapes, but the debate over the site's origins only amplifies its air of mystery. Known as the Yonaguni Monument, the angular tiered structures span across a 600-foot wide swath of seafloor at depths around 100 feet. The largest formation resembles a step pyramid with ramps and flights of stairs, standing 75 feet tall and 15 feet across. Adjacent monoliths evoke tombs, amphitheaters, and other structures. One has a carving resembling a moose or deer. While nature can mimic human architecture's straight lines and right angles through fracturing, the adherents to the man-made hypothesis ask how natural forces could create parallel motifs and animal carvings here. They believe the formations once constituted a coastal community that sunk below the waves in an earthquake 8,000 years ago as glacial meltwater flooded the area. Others counter that such unlikely perfect fracturing occurred given the sandstone's layers. The lack of conclusive evidence either way keeps the debate lively. While perhaps the monument's origins lie partly in both nature and human initiative, the site compels imaginations to envision civilizations lost to the sea's endless appetites. What future discoveries lie submerged near coastlines worldwide, awaiting technology to decipher their tales? For now, the ocean guards its mysteries, revealed only in tantalizing glimpses. Now it's time for today's subscriber pick. Our oceans are vast and full of mystery. Fishermen sometimes catch more than just fish in their nets. This fisherman's find shocked scientists. During a routine fishing trip, a crew felt like they had hooked something massive. As they struggled to pull up the net, they knew this was no ordinary catch. When the net finally breached the surface, the men were stunned by what they saw. It was not a fish, nor a giant squid, but some sort of hybrid between the two. They were fascinated by the discovery. The creature likely represents an entirely new species, never before encountered. What other secrets might our oceans hold? While details are scarce, this extraordinary creature provokes much curiosity. What are your thoughts on this shocking discovery? Let us know in the comments below. Number 5. The Underwater River. In the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico, a stunning natural wonder awaits adventurous divers, the underwater river of Cenote Angelita. Cenotes are natural sinkholes created by the collapse of limestone bedrock that expose groundwater pools. The cenotes of Mexico's Yucatan region contain fantastically clear water, and cave diving in these cenotes can reveal awe-inspiring underwater scenery. But Cenote Angelita's claim to fame is its otherworldly underwater river, hidden beneath the visible water's surface. The underwater river in Cenote Angelita is formed by the meeting of salt water and fresh water. The fresh upper layer comes from rainfall permeating through the ground and entering the cenote. Being less dense than salt water, the fresh water floats on top. Meanwhile, salt water from the Caribbean flows into the cenote through underground rivers connected to the sea. This salty ocean water is denser, so it sinks and flows beneath the freshwater layer. For scuba divers, it's like entering another dimension. Descending through the freshwater layer, they eventually reach a discernible boundary, marked by debris caught between the converging currents. Passing this threshold, they enter the lower realm, a hazy, twilight-lit underwater river, flowing upstream against the prevailing seaward current. The water takes on an opaque, deep emerald color from the hydrogen sulfide tint. Strange stalactites of sulfur crystals hang from the ceiling, looking like chandeliers lighting the way. The underwater river extends 300 feet into the cave system. Divers floating in its current can glimpse fantastic rock formations cloaked in thousands of years of mineral deposits. Number 4. Apollo rocket engines. When NASA's Apollo program first launched astronauts to the moon in the late 1960s and early 1970s, the mighty Saturn V rocket provided the power to escape Earth's gravity. The Saturn V was a 3-stage behemoth, and the 5 F1 engines that propelled its first stage were crucial to setting the Apollo missions on the right trajectory. Once jettisoned after propelling the rocket out of the atmosphere, the F1 engines would plummet into the Atlantic Ocean. Given the vastness of the ocean, these important pieces of space history were long considered lost forever. But thanks to the passion and resources of Amazon founder Jeff Bezos, several of these relics from the Apollo era now reside in museums for the public to appreciate. The road to their recovery began in 2012, when Bezos funded a privately operated expedition to locate and salvage F1 rocket engines from the ocean floor. He was driven not just by his fascination with spaceflight, but by the inspiration it could provide to future generations. Using historical data on launch trajectories and ocean conditions, his team identified a prime search area off the Florida coast, where spent Apollo first stage rockets likely fell. There, the crew detected large man-made objects protruding from the seabed, 5 F1 engines partially buried in seafloor silt. Recovering them required custom-built, remotely operated vehicles, delicate underwater excavation techniques, and lift bags to gently raise each 15,000-pound engine from a depth of 14,000 feet. Despite being submerged for over 40 years, the engines remained largely intact. Once restored, Bezos donated them to Seattle's Museum of Flight and the Smithsonian's National Air and Space Museum, where they went on proud display. Number 3. The Turtle Graveyard of Sipadan Island. Beneath the waves off Sipadan Island in Malaysia lies a haunting sight, a cave strewn with the skeletal remains of over 100 sea turtles. Dubbed the Turtle Tomb, this underwater graveyard only came to light in recent decades, yet remains mysterious in origin. How did so many turtles meet their demise in this unlikely underwater resting place? While a definitive answer may be lacking, the strange tableau nevertheless captivates divers' imaginations. The turtle graveyard was first documented in the 1980s by famed ocean explorer Jacques Cousteau, who filmed what appeared to be a mass sea turtle graveyard during a dive in the area. But the eerie sight gained wider attention in 2019, thanks to photographer Jade Vergara of the Borneo Post. While diving off Sipadan, he entered a 120-foot deep cave and discovered a boneyard of turtle skeletons piled on top of each other, some with their flippers still seemingly flapping in a last desperate attempt at escape. All signs point to the turtles tragically venturing too deep into the cave, then becoming trapped and drowning when they could no longer surface for air. What drew them into such a predicament can only be speculated. Some experts propose the strong currents swept them inside, while others suggest algae drew them in as a food source. Regardless, once inside, the cave's tight recesses and disorienting darkness likely prevented their escape. Based on skeletal accumulation, the graveyard indicates turtles met this fate over decades, if not centuries. For Cipadans scuba divers, the place holds an eerie fascination. Drifting among the skulls, shells, and bones, while surveying the pileup of final turtle resting places, brings a chilling reminder of the sea's unpredictable dangers. While a sobering underwater time capsule, the site has also brought attention to modern sea turtle conservation efforts in Malaysia and around the world. Hopefully, as their populations recover, scenes of such tragedy will become increasingly rare beneath the waves. Number 2. The Northwest Passage. For explorers and traders of past centuries, finding a sailing route connecting the Atlantic and Pacific Oceans along the top of North America became a tantalizing dream and deadly obsession. Failed expeditions consumed lives and ships trying to locate the fabled Northwest Passage over 4 disastrous centuries. While advances in ship technology finally enabled a full transit in 1906, the passion and sacrifice of those seeking this holy grail of geography still resonates. Their reliance on courage and hope in battling the harshest Arctic elements profoundly shaped the mythology and maps of the New World. Seeking access between Europe and Asia motivated the push toward the North American North Coast. English explorer Martin Frobisher first charted Canada's Labrador region, searching for the passage in the 1570s. The 1800s brought renewed British Royal Navy attempts as the lure of connecting their Atlantic and Pacific territories spurred new generations of explorers. But treacherous ice floes, bone-chilling cold, and scurvy thwarted their progress. None was more driven than Sir John Franklin, who departed England in 1845 with 2 ships and 128 men to finally complete the passage charting. After they failed to return, reports eventually filtered south of the expedition's miserable fate, trapped by ice northwest of Hudson Bay until their supplies ran out. Subsequent recovery efforts found disturbing evidence of desperation and cannibalism. While the first transit of the entire passage finally succeeded in the early 1900s, Franklin's doomed voyage remains most intertwined with the dream. While Northwest Passage fever eventually faded in the 20th century, those wicked waters still beckon adventurers of a less imperialist bent. The risks remain unchanged. Frigid, tempestuous seas, wandering ice sheets, disorienting darkness, but the rewards transcend geography or commerce. By braving the crushing isolation and realizing the dreams of those bold explorers from history, voyagers today reaffirm the human compulsion to seek understanding of our world through intrepid personal sacrifice. In that spirit, the Northwest Passage thrives as an enduring symbol of our shared identity as explorers ever drifting toward new frontiers. Number 1. Underwater relics of the ancient Mayans. Cutting-edge laser mapping of Mexico's waters has revealed astonishing discoveries submerged for centuries along the Yucatan's Caribbean coast. A vast flooded cave system over 15 miles long contains relics indicating the ancient Maya civilization used these dramatic subterranean rivers and chambers. Ongoing research aims to preserve this awe-inspiring underwater museum, enlightening humanity about early Mesoamerica's complex rites and advanced culture. Named the Great Mayan Aquifer, the cave system was originally accessed and utilized primarily between 10,000 and 4,000 years ago across multiple generations, with usage declining around 1000 AD as populations moved inland. Extended periods when sea levels were up to 300 feet lower exposed now flooded cave passages, allowing easier exploration and ritual use. The cave's interior dimensions and distances from ancient population centers indicate they were accessed deliberately, not stumbled upon randomly. Many specially deposited items have been documented, including stone incense burners, clay pots, seashells, human remains, and colorful stalagmites prized in Maya culture. Wall markings include dates and references to underworld deities. To the ancient Maya, caves and their springs and pools were sacred portals permeating the membrane between material and spiritual realms. Finding troves of their relics and ritual traces lets modern researchers share glimpses of Maya cosmology and everyday beliefs. Submerged caves worldwide are time capsules protecting fragile relics of humanity's diverse cultures against erosion and looting. As diving technology improves, collaborations with archaeologists uncover these windows to the past, adding depth to our collective human story. However, proper protocols are crucial to avoid damage and displacement of artifacts. By respectfully learning from ancient usage of submerged spaces, we gain wisdom to wisely steward all our shared sacred environments. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.